It's just 21 days away from the start of the INDYCAR Buttkicker iRacing Pro Series, and today 33 drivers will learn their fate. Are they ready to fight for $50,000? The Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course will let them know. Hi folks, welcome along for the final time this season. 40 laps of racing and a short, furious evening for these drivers nonetheless. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. We've seen plenty of frenetic races across street circuits, purpose-built road courses, and of course the ovals that define American open wheel racing. But now, just one final step lies between our drivers and a World Championship license. If you're joining us for the very first time, here's a look at the schedule. Starting, of course, from the streets of the Action City, making our way over to Long Beach. July 18th, it seems like a long way away when some of our drivers got underway. After that, our first oval, over to the racing capital of the world and to the corner of 16th Street before the Alabama roller coaster, a return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then our final oval of this 7-round championship. The short oval in the shadow of the Gateway Arch saw plenty of frenetic racing, but it was Powerslide Motorsports and private label Team Hype taking plenty of points heading into the penultimate road course round of this season. And boy, did Road America show us that Redline and Coanda are here to play. And so as we take a look at the championship standings, look at the likes of Michele Costantini, Diogo Pinto, Jose Soria, and Sotomuto. 4 drivers, 4 different teams. Coanda, Redline, Drago, and Williams all represented up towards the very front. Of course, you do have a couple of the Apex Racing team drivers, Brandon Traino and Luke McEwen, 6th and 7th positions respectively, before you get down to the very bottom of the top 12 to find Adam Crane and Rob Malechka, just a handful of the iRacing IndyCar community. However, today, it's not just the focus up towards the very front, it's focus right to that cut line inside of the top 33. Currently, Jeff Drake, Brendan Lichtenberg, and Manuel Cubo Torres are split by just going on 12 points, 30th through 33rd. Keep an eye out for Brandon Roseborough, for Brian Carey, Nathan Moore. These are drivers that need good results and need those in front to find their way into the barrier. Something special for you on RaceSpotTV as well. We're going to try, operative word being try, to bring you coverage of both the top and second split of racing here today. You can see from up above that second split looking a little bit foggier than what the drivers in the top split are having to deal with. There's also a lot less points for them. Strength of field for top split goes on 8,000 iRating. Strength of field for the second split goes on around 4,000. It's Jordan Caruso, though, the ex-Porsche Esports Super Cup champion that currently sits at the top of the timesheet in the top split of competition. In second split, Xavi Ross, Brandon Traino, and Dan Amor are covered by just about a 1/10 of a second between them. Names to keep an eye on already. Eduardo Leo's qualified decently in the Team Redline number 14. He's on the inside of row number 2. He is in a must-win situation and hope those behind try and, get into trouble. Brandon Roseborough, Nathan Moore, we mentioned those two names as well. They're in the top split, albeit at the very back of the qualifying order, 23rd and 24th positions. They will have some work to do. So that's the look at the top split qualifying rundown. Not anyone out on track right now. So let's take a look at second split and how that's shaking up in terms of gaps. Only 20 times on the board. Charlie Sears and Luis Nunez amongst those who are yet to set qualifying times. There's a look at the Nexus Esports machine. Luis Nunez joining up with a brand new team at the conclusion of this qualifying series. He fires his way out through Thunder Valley. Now rolls it up towards the carousel. Oh, a little bit wide, kicks up a bit of grass and gravel. Is that going to compromise his time? Now, he doesn't have a time on the board just yet, so there's some pressure here. He crosses the line and ends the qualifying session, but does not jump forward in position. He's got it all to do from 22nd spot. And quite interestingly, it's going to be second split, which is going to get underway before the top split of competition. Still waiting for the top split to come to a close, however, though. So, as their qualifying session comes to an end, why don't we go trackside and take a look at the first of 2 races featured here on RaceSpotTV? It's going to be quite confusing trying to figure out what is what, but it is going to be Xavi Ross on the front row of that second split. He'll have Brandon Traino alongside to try and challenge him in towards the opening corner. Behind it will be Dan Amor in the Apex Racing Academy car alongside of Jacob Oster. You see Kataja is inside of the top 33. He's going to just try and solidify his position. Pedro Blebel is alongside him on row number 3. Back in 7th spot in second split, Rob Malechka, the man with the hat, just trying to stay out of trouble alongside Adam Yuhaz, with Jeff Drake having some work to do from 9th position alongside Luciano Whitvet. Matt Taylor 11th, Brendan Lichtenberg 12th. Remember, the hyperstar just inside of the cut line with Alex Rassi, Alan Berteau, Nick Sudek, Pale Bay, Indy Cassie, and then Ethan Morris, the rest of the top 18. Just Ellis Spice and Logan Edwards, David Henger with times on the board. Then you find Luis Nunez, Charlie Sears, and Logan Spath at the very back of that second split of racing. Top split's done and dusted for qualifying as well, and its former teammates Jordan Caruso and Cooper Webster now on the front row, locking horns. Kawanda and Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing respectively now. Eduardo Leo, Jose Soria second row with Diogo Pinto and Gustavo Ariel looking to try and solidify what's been a solid summer for Team Redline. On row 3, Phil Kraus, Michael Romanidis, Ricardo Rico, Luke McEwen, the rest of the top 10, with Michele Costantini not having the best of qualifying efforts. He's down in 11th spot and almost half a second off pole, but inside of Peter Berryman. 13th, you'll find Elliot Veyron. His teammate Michael Johnny rolls alongside him with Tamas Shimon, Jaden Munoz, Moreno Sarica, and then Bobby Zelensky, your top 18. 1 second covering the top 20 with Pablo Espez and then Manuel Cubo Torres sharing the 10th row of the grid. Nico Rosbicki and Kevin Burrell 21st and 22nd. Brandon Roseborough and Nathan Moore having it all to do from the back of the top split. David Toth, the only driver in top split with no time on the board. What can he do? He's got no real expectation, already somewhat solid in points, 21st in terms of positions, just hoping to stay out of trouble. Well, your second split's already off and away on what is a full flying formation lap. Your top split, if you're curious, just about to do the same as well. As you can see, the sea of red line up front. It's been a pretty good summer, as mentioned, for them. Started off a little bit off pace in the Stellara IR18, but in the time since then, they have very much gotten up to speed. Road America in particular, we saw just how much their different approach to set up a little bit more downforce suited them as compared to some of their rivals. And now one final chance, I'm guessing, trying to help Eduardo Leo. Cooper Webster, if you're wondering, is 22nd in terms of points. It's a very real chance that we'll see a driver that won a couple of races in the Indian Formula 4 Championship race later this autumn, fall, winter, depending on how you classify what we're coming up to. Jordan Caruso and Cooper Webster might class it as spring or summer, of course. Right, top split still got a ways to go before we see them get their race underway. Let's take an eye up towards second split as they get ready to rumble. Remember, there are drivers here trying to do what they can and hoping those in top split stumble. Field's about to be left in control of Xavi Ross and Brandon Traino. Dan Amor in that Apex Racing Academy car. Another one of those drivers looking somewhat solid in terms of their chance of making it in. Right, here we go. Pace car off and away in split 2. For the final time this season, 40 laps on the board and we're racing. And look at Brandon Traino. There's a crash behind, but he's challenging Xavi Ross on the run towards turn 1. They're still spinning in the backdrop as chaos goes on. Some arca brakes and one driver going absolutely straight. My word, climb towards the keyhole and finally it's single file up towards the front 405. Nick Sudik's got a challenge from Brendan Lichtenberg and then a big old gap behind as they push themselves down the back straightaway and challenging one another. Right, if the top split's anything like that, we've got some chaos about to drop. Another 40 laps of racing for these drivers and they get away a little bit more cleanly. Cooper Webster, Jose Soria squabble on the run towards turn 1. Webster blocks the Drago racing car. Now they climb. Who's going to go aggressive? As expected, Leo, the young 17-year-old. He's got his teammates, Pinto and Ariel, blocking the path behind. He knows he can afford to take some risks now. And look at that tower lit up like a Christmas tree. Now Cooper Webster feeds some draft to Jose Soria's offense down the inside. It's going to be a late break by Leo. He's still not clear down to China Beach. Remember, Soria's third in points. He really doesn't need to fight. But I tell you what, discretion the better part of valor in these early stages as we run our way through the S's. Let's check back in with second split as already they run towards the keyhole for the second time of asking. Why do you get the feeling that this is not going to be a fight that eases on up? Brandon Traino's looking to the inside of Xavi Ross. Down to turn 4. And the king of the bricks, followed through by his teammate. Can Dan Amor make it work around the outside? What a move that was. And this is why it's great to be able to follow not one but 2 splits of competition. Our focus up front though. Peter Berry and Michael Romanidis edge of the top 10. Romanidis down 3 spots already. He's trying to avoid losing that position to Berryman. Meanwhile, Eduardo Leo frustrated behind Jose Soria, who's already burned 3 of his push-to-passes so far this race. Can't quite believe I'm saying this either, by the way. But in this top split, all 25 still pointing in a straight line. It's definitely not the case in second split, of course. We saw the chaos at the start of lap 1, and we'll grab a replay sooner rather than later. And my poor brain, my poor voice, it didn't necessarily sign up for this. So end of lap 2, it is now a 0.6 of a second advantage that Jordan Caruso enjoys in the purple and black. Stealth number 18 Coanda Esports entry. At least he's made it nice and easy to differentiate himself from his teammates behind in the purple and orange. A bit easier than the red line teammates, of course, who run 4th, 5th and 6th for the time being. All in identical liveries. We're on board with Diogo Pinto. And listen to the amount of fuel saving going on there. That's telling. So Pablo Espes under fire from Michael Gianni. Gianni into 15th position. Now Gianni as well, 26th in points. He's really got to fight here. And he's fighting with a driver that's on the outside, potentially looking in. Pablo Espes there in the contention mix as well. Right from the nose cone of Gianni's number 7. Right, shall we, if we can, replay of what happened at the start of split 2. Now, just keep watching, keep watching. Someone needs to just add some meme music, and away we go off to the races. We've just gone viral on TikTok, Twitch, all of them combined. That's a big move, by the way. As Moreno Sorica in the live pictures passes Michael Gianni, his teammate, both teammates, respectively. It's Munoz and Romanidis. Coanda versus Williams up front in the battle for 12th position as well. I want to take one more look at this start, by the way. But right on board with former World Championship driver, here's a look with Charlie Sears. Hello, darkness, my old friend. No, he's on the brakes. Weaves one way, then the other. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Freebies galore. Right. Now let's hope things have settled down for the most part. We rejoin, of course, the fight between Eduardo Leo and his teammates behind. I don't think this is what they were expecting. Jose Soria really frustrating them in the early stages. And now we've got a little bit of a battle up front brewing. Here comes Cooper Webster. And Webster, who did win a couple of races this year in the Porsche Esports Super Cup as well, including one, if I remember, at the Circuit de la Sarthe, in quite dramatic fashion. Meanwhile, by the way, second split bottom of your screen, you can see Brandon Trainer really starting to extend his gap to Dan Amor and Jacob Oster. Now, Xavi Ross has started on the primary compound of tire, something we haven't touched on so far today. 2 compounds, of course, to use. And right now, the top 11 in top split have all elected for the softer, grippier, but slightly less durable alternate compound of tire. So Romanidis, Costantini, and Veyron, the first 3, all Coanda Esports drivers as well, in the top split that have decided to switch the strategy around. Second split, by the way, Luis Nunez really on a charge right now. He came into this race in 28th in the championship. Remember, didn't set a qualifying time. He's already up to 12th position. We'll keep an eye on him. He is on the alternate compound of tire. Bottom of your screen, you can see the Nexus Esport driver on the now charge to try and pass Brendan Lichtenberg. Now, Brendan Lichtenberg's 32nd in points, that you would probably recognize if Nunez is a bit faster on the road. Let the move happen, and you don't want to compromise your race if you are in that Team i5G machine. And indeed, big picture, it's the run down through into turn 4, and already move made before the braking zone. Luis Nunez up to 11th, and meanwhile, at the very front of the train, the Project Valorous car makes a move on Rob Malechka. Jeff Drake takes advantage as well. So this is a rather intriguing phase of the race for this second stint, which, let's not forget, we will see the winner crowned slightly earlier. That qualifying session ended about 30 seconds earlier as well. So let us know who you're cheering for live here on RaceSpotTV. We've got enough time, got 2 splits of action. Let's see if we can focus in on where all the fun is. Speaking of, Pablo Espes moved on Elliot Veyron, I think that was. No, Michele Costantini, who is the points leader. That's a great camera angle. Broadcast director definitely knows what he's doing. So we haven't reached the crossover point. If you are on the alternate compounds of tire, it would seem. Check out the comparison. Now Jordan Caruso is Coanda Esports starting on the alternates. Last 3 laps, I mean Costantini lost almost 2 full seconds on that last lap alone. And there's no damage. That's just strategy playing its part. Oh, Moreno Sorica looks up the inside. Tries to run the Italian out of room. But in a fight between 2 Italians, I guess the hand gestures may have come out. Costantini recognizing, though, he doesn't need to fight this one just yet. Dakota DiCienzo jumps in to say, cheering for a Jeff Drake sweepstake. I wonder what the odds are on that for today. Remember, 31st in terms of points coming into today. Was only 9 points in front of the cut line where Brandon Roseborough sits. Problem is, if you are Brandon Roseborough, you're all the way down here in, what is this, 21st position. You've got Nathan Moore behind you. That's one good thing in that World Sim Racing machine. But it might end up coming down to the drop weeks, which, you know, we love as commentators because you always trust the commentators' math, and they're especially accurate when you factor in drop weeks and things like that. How rude from Mike Spangler, by the way. He's cheering for anyone but me. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Fraser Williamson cheering for, well, I mean, that might be a fun option at some point in IndyCar, I'm just saying. I'm not sure if necessarily it's a realistic one, but maybe that's where we can set up a new team in IndyCar. Isotto Franzcini. I've butchered that name, I can guarantee it. Never know. So 107.552 for your race leader last time by. Michael Romanidis a 108.4, which means we're about to cross 25% race distance, still with Cooper Webster putting the pressure onto your race leader as we ride from that nose cone. And what a great way to experience the undulation here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Down, out through China Beach, rumble through the S's, underneath that Honda Bridge. And this is where the bumpiness of the track becomes so evident in these cars. How compliant can you make your car as you drop over the crest into Thunder Valley? Fast turn 11, how brave can you be? And then this long final carousel, sweeping right-hander, which goes on forever as you try to get onto the power. What a fantastic racetrack this is. And then back out through turn 1, it begins with a fast left-hander once more. And no runoff to speak of. Left to your own devices. I did say, didn't I, that Redline had figured out this IndyCar. Maybe one of their drivers doing a bit more of the figuring out here today. Eduardo Leo, slightly holding up Gustavo Ariel and Diego Pinto. Yes, the 2 drivers that have already locked themselves into the championship. But with Ricardo Rico fresh off that victory at Road America, he's full of confidence, sitting in behind. could he be one to try and do something here on strategy? I think if you are Team Redline, not sure if Andre Kunchman's sitting somewhere and helping on strategy. I think you might need a little bit of heads-up driving here to get a maximum result for Leo. Now 2.5 off the back of the podium spots. Let's check back in with second split. There's a move from Jeff Drake. He'll pass Alex Rassi in the Project Valorous machine. And he's now about 6 seconds behind Jussi Kataja. I think that's probably the next target, but not sure if anything more is realistic. Behind, Luis Nunez has just made the move on Rob Malechka as well. So second split, couple of little bits of action brewing. And I don't even know how to describe that helmet from Rob Malechka. Tell you what. Let's go say hi to second split very briefly. What's the best camera angle that I can bring up to showcase this helmet? You know what, I might not actually have one that is appropriate to show in... Okay, wait, this is as zoomed in as I can get. Well, what is that? I mean, he loves a good meme, does Sir Rob, but... That's not even like an emoji. It's like orange. It's weird. Anyway, let's go back on over to the top split. Pick back up the action. Are we going to see some calls on strategy sooner rather than later? Get that sneaking suspicion. If Kawando, you know, with their drivers slightly further back in qualifying, decided to start on the primary compound tire, there must be a good reason for that. Jorns Jens past Gergis somewhere, probably plotting out their own little strategy here from the team hub in Gronau. Here comes the move though. Pablo Espes not waiting any longer. He's burned through half his push to passes. Oh, teammates going to work together though to block off the momentum. So Romanides in front of Veyron. Oh, this is precarious. They're still wheel to wheel into the S's. And now finally they get it sorted out. We're not seeing the crossover in the same way here in top split. It's playing out a little bit more in second split. Keep an eye on the weather. Likely to be a big factor in how things are playing out. Lots of wind, but relatively cool track conditions. 34 degrees Celsius, working out to 93 Fahrenheit in incorrect units, if you must know. Lots more push to pass being used by the likes of Ricardo Rico and Luke McEwen. Oh, bit of a lock-up behind. Right, let's once again bring up the split screen. Down in second split, we've got a fight brewing. Dan Amos has been all sorts of crossed up sideways. And as a move beckons once more from Pablo Espes, a move on from Jacob Oster potentially as well. Now remember that Dan Amor, Jacob Oster, they started on the alternate compound tire. The car that's hunting them down is on the primary compound of tire. That's what I meant when I said that we had a bit more of a split compound working there. And look at the amount of grip that Javi Ross has as we ride on board. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to turn our attention to the front of the field. Teammates turn rivals. But both drivers on the button, and Jordan Caruso just holds on to the race lead down to China Beach. This is shaping up, though, to be a real slobber knocker of a fight to the end of the season. Some predicted it might not be fun. Throw those bets out the window. The question about are we getting this for more Pro Series qualifiers, absolutely not. My brain is scrambled enough right now as it is. Have to try and make sure we haven't missed anything in all of the fighting as well. This is one of those races where there's a lot going on, while also not a lot going on at the same time, if that makes sense. Xavi Ross has come down to pit lane, by the way, in second split. Meanwhile, Michael Romanidis has done the same here in top split. And so, as wheel to wheel for the race lead, look away, and Cooper Webster around the outside makes it Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing and Team Redline now on top. You can see the gaps come down to Jose Soria, but I think the strategy is going to play itself out right now. Xavi Ross has come out behind some traffic as well, but seemingly fuel window right around 25 laps. Road America was a lot of fun a week ago when we had some 3 and 4 wide moments. Definitely does not seem like we're getting that here today. A much more strategic mix of racing. And now that it's changed around up front, Costantini and Gianni starting to lose a little bit more time on their primary compounds. I'm surprised to not see them in just yet. So almost halfway through this top split of racing, as Nathan Moore at the very back of the field comes down to pit lane as well. There's Michael Romanidis already, of course, having made his pit stop. He's only 13 seconds behind his teammate Bobby Zelensky. Unfortunately, Bobby on the wrong side of the cut line, it would seem. And so a driver that's competed in, I think, all but one iRacing World Championship, excuse me, 2 iRacing World Championships. I believe the Formula IRO1 as well as the iRacing Short Course Series being the 2 that Bobby has not done. I think that is his journey done and dusted, at least based on where he's going to finish here today. Of course, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, most recently having a playoff race from the Texas Motor Speedway. If you can't tell, the sound of silence is me Googling a way to try and figure out who won that race. Stephen Wilson. Yes, I knew that one as well. Stephen Wilson won that race, and he'll go to defend his championship at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Here we go, though. Sirica and Espez, they're going to swap around. Now that's 2 drivers both on the alternate compound of tire already. So just intriguing to note, they've elected to make the swap. Let's go back on over to second split if we can. Here's a look at a couple more drivers down on pit lane. Alex Rassi in that Project Valorous car has just made his way down. We're looking, though, at Rob Malechka, who is going to find himself, it would seem, inside of the top 33. His teammate Jeff Drake has just been passed by Luis Nunez, who's just continuing his recovery drive after a disappointing effort in qualifying. It's been impressive to see him track the progress so far. Now 5 more seconds up the road. 20 seconds away from your race leader, who I think it's fair to say we haven't seen much of Brandon Traino in the top split of the qualifying series. But the only multi-time repeat winner of the iRacing Indy 500 does look as though he'll be in a pretty good position to put his case forward as one of the best in a Dallara IR18 moving forward. And so rejoin the action in top split. It's stretched out slightly now in this fight behind Elliot Veyron. You can go all the way back to Nico Rosbicki and even Brandon Roseborough. As there we go, first taker it would seem down to pit lane. And Moreno Sirica, after Jaden Munoz, his teammate, came in a lap ago, into the box. Brandon Roseborough behind him as well has decided to do the same. Here comes the Texan. So Jaden Munoz cycles back in front now of his teammate Moreno Sorica to be the lead car, having pitted. Second driver in that mix after the pit stop equation is Michael Romanidis. And meanwhile, Pablo Espez is going to slot in directly between Moreno Sorica and Brandon Roseborough, both off of pit lane. And since making his pass for the lead, Jordan Caruso, or rather Cooper Webster, had really built up a gap to Jordan Caruso. Caruso goes long, but exactly halfway through, here comes Webster. Hits his marks pretty well. Interesting that he's the only one of the red line drivers that comes down to pit lane on that lap. Cooper Webster, of course, stepped up to Euro Cup 3 for this year, after racing in GB4 the previous year as well. Not quite sure how his season has gone. Again, the sound of silence is me frantically Googling away. Oh, it seems as though Cooper, unfortunately, hasn't even had his chance to go and race in Euro Cup 3, which is a real shame. We know just how talented he can be. He won 8 races in the inaugural F4 Indian Championship. And now, I think focusing maybe a bit more on the sim world. Oh, and he's had some trouble, and he's back in pit lane. Oh, Cooper Webster. As we see Caruso, Leo and Rico make their way into pit lane. There's the broken race car of Cooper Webster, going nowhere anytime fast. Let's see if we can bring up, oh, this is already after the incident as well. Oh my days. Oh no, oh, okay, wait. Now we've gone back far enough. Cooper. I tell you what, if Cooper can do this, we all have an excuse now. I mean, a look from up above, I mean, as much as he was racing on exit, that was the okay. Whew. My days. If I just needed a change of underwear, can you imagine what some of these other drivers must be thinking? Oh my. Oh my. Well, apologies for the crisis. My own, that is. But wow. Now, okay, this really... So Cooper Webster, 21st in points coming into the night. He's probably still safe. But what does that mean for some of the others? That will be the question. Now, Jose Soria, second of those that have pitted, he's only 7/10 in front of Eduardo Leo. The rest of the red line contingent has gone long, and going longer still. Joshua Chin comes in with a big oof. Oh, Cooper Webster, that is going to be the talk of the town. Let's see if we can go back up to pick up second split. Not sure if there's really too much still brewing. But as Michael Johnny trundles down the lane, red line trying to go maybe through lap 25. Seems as though Dan Amor did need a wing change. He stopped for 13.4 seconds. He's come out behind Xavi Ross. Nick Sudik and Matt Taylor are not far behind the Hyperstar. And Nick Sudik is 42nd in points. Matt Taylor not on the spreadsheet that I have in front of me. They are right on the outside, you'd say, looking in. Right, here we go. A bit of a split still, but it's Pinto in, Gustavo Ariel staying out. Where does this merge leave them as well? That is a sorry sight if I've ever seen one. A destroyed Dallara IR18, looking a little bit more suitable for the month of May than anything else. Here we go. There goes Caruso. Soria. Where's Leo? Oh, Diogo Pinto jumps his teammate. But you'd expect this to swap around instantly, and yes. Oh, these are good teammates as well. They didn't need to wait 20, 30 laps. No, right after the pit stop. One went on the slightly more compromised strategy, yes, on offense, but Eduardo Leo given the position back. You'd expect the same to be said for Gustavo. He'll be staggered in, probably this time by. An exit stage left? Yes, it is. Bit of a slide there in style for Gustavo Ariel. The apex pair of Luke McEwen and Peter Berryman going to follow him in as well. And so, Phil Kraus, the sole driver in this leading group to go on to lap 26. Where is this merge going to bleed? There goes Gustavo. Here comes Eduardo. It's going to be close on exit. Gustavo's fighting Soria. Now into the keyhole. Gustavo might think about a bit of an offense here on the Drago Racing driver. Have to see how that plays out. Meanwhile, keep an eye out for the likes of Romanidis, Veyron, Gianni, and Costantini. The 4 Coanda drivers run 12th through 15th, and they've got some work to do now. Right, pit stops underway in second split as we watch Michele Costantini. Jacob Oster leaves the pit lane. And you can see the margin that he's got to Dan Amor, who has just shot out through turn 1. It seems as though it's going to be Trainer, Roche, Oster, and Amor 1, 2, 3, 4 in split 2. Tamas Shimon is going on to lap 27. But as Phil Kraus emerges from the box, he's in front of Pinto. So he's got on the jump there. The Portuguese driver has a half look to the inside. This is where for Phil Kraus, he's got one push to pass in reserve, and he's got to use it now in defense. Push to pass becomes push to defend in situations like this. Diogo Pinto's got a bit more speed around the outside. And wow, Phil Kraus, I think, recognizing that situation. And so, remembering that red line had way too much downforce at Road America, they were fast through the corners but a sitting duck in a straight line. They seem to have found a little bit more of a balance here with their setup today. So as the klaxon goes off for the final time, the Hungarian Tamas Shimon finds his box. So he started this race in 15th position in the race. In points, he was up inside of the top 20. Where is he going to emerge on the bleed? Now he's got only 13 laps to run on the alternates. I think he's now just hoping for a hard charge to the end. So in front of Moreno Sorica, but behind the train of Coanda. Speaking of, Michael Romanidis has been out there a lot longer than his teammates. Elliot Veyron's going to slice his way on forward. Another driver carrying plenty of real-world background into this qualifying series. Veyron very much seeming like he will be in the Fast 33. Love that we have that crossover, by the way. about how many drivers will race in the series. You know, only 33 make it into the greatest spectacle in racing every month of May. Only 33 drivers going to be part of this inaugural iRacing INDYCAR Buttkicker iRacing Pro Series. Say that one 5 times fast. Nicholas Alfaro says goodnight, cheering on his friend Gustavo Ariel. We say goodnight to him and the contingent of Portuguese fans, rather Brazilian fans and Portuguese fans cheering on Pinto and Ariel. Always great to have some of their supporters around. We often get plenty of the representatives in chat cheering on those drivers. On board with Michele Costantini, by the way. His teammate Michael Johnny's looking quite hungry to pass Michael Romanidis. You can see that Romanidis struggling with the traction out of some of these slower speed corners. I tell you what, his strategy call, after, remember, qualifying well but being shuffled down in the early stages, I think he's done his best to try and salvage something from this race. Your race leader increasingly under pressure from Jose Soria, I think. That gap holds at around 1.3 seconds. You can see Soria looking very, very comfortable. And Drago Racing, of course, with Przemysław Lemonek winning the Turn Racing Grand Prix Series last year. So in many ways, they come into this championship with, I don't want to say a title to defend, but a ranking to defend, if you will. Bit of a switch behind as finally both Michael Gianni and Michele Costantini pass their teammate Romanidis. We're into the last 10 laps, and that goes as well for second split. It is starting to shrink, though, the margin. And so check back in with Brandon Traino. He's only 5 seconds in front of Xavi Ross. You can see that traffic still sits between these two contenders. But on the last lap alone, a couple of tenths eaten into by the chasing number one machine behind. Behind, not really much else to fight for. And I think if you're Brendan Lichtenberg, Alan Berteau, probably going to make his move pretty quickly. Slightly different compound of tire to speak of between these two drivers. I think Luis Nunez will be quite happy with his charge back through the field. He could still be hunting a 5th place finish, though. We'll catch back up with these drivers and their results at the end of the race. But I think for the time being, let's keep our eyes up front. Gustavo Ariel goes on the charge. He made a great move on Luke McEwen at the Barber Motorsports Park earlier this season. Is he willing to be aggressive, get the elbows out, and make a similarly bold pass here again? You can see behind the Coanda drivers really using as much of the push to pass as they still have available to them. Tamas Shimon is in their mix as well. They're trying to close up to the back of Jaden Munoz, to Luke McEwen, to Elliot Veyron. Meanwhile, Jose Soria has got 7 more laps to defend. Make that 8, excuse me. What was that about trusting a commentator's math? He's got 2 push to passes left to go. Jose Soria has got just as many to defend. And that red line car closing, but you can tell into the braking zone at China Beach one more time. It's not close enough. Behind, Jaden Munos's fight may finally come to an end. I think once one of the Coanda cars makes its move, then the Coanda Express will follow. But look at that. That's a Texas welcome, or rather a lack thereof. Elbows out, and Michael Gianni forced to concede. Michele Costantini joins the fun. And I said we haven't seen, well, we wouldn't expect too much 3 wide at this particular track. Are we about to see something great? I'm sure Michael Preston, Jake Hammond, and the rest of the Williams Esports team management probably not too keen to see some of that. As the rear end steps out on Jaden's car. Tamas Shimon trying to make his move as well. Have eyes everywhere in this fight, because every little thing might matter. I think the act of Costantini getting past Gianni has enabled him to build up his buffer. Munoz will hold on for the time being. Brendan Lichtenberg, by the way, in second split has officially been passed by Alan Berteau. I think one of the other fights that might come down to the wire in terms of points. There's a look at Jeff Drake. He's got Rob Malechka, his teammate, behind. But then Adam Yahaz, definitely not a teammate, by the way, might not be willing to run to the same beat of the drums. 5 laps to go in second split, 6 to go in top split. We'll get our winner in that second split pretty quickly, and it does seem as though it will be Brandon Traino. Once again, Costantini tries to look to the inside. That was not really a move that was ever on. Which way does Costantini try to sweep? Well, doesn't look for a move. It's a little bit boring. He eventually throws it up the inside. And now Jaden Munoz, with no lack of grip at this point in the run, able to hold off any further advances. So the Coanda Express not taking multiple positions at the time. There is a Coanda car that's leading. It's just the one that we haven't talked too much about. Jordan Caruso exits out of the keyhole. 5 laps left to go for the 2023 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup champion. What's he going to be able to do this summer, or rather spring, I guess, for him? For Coanda as well, it's great to see their focus return to iRacing in many ways, not just here in the INDYCAR Buttkicker iRacing qualifying series, but also in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup qualifying series. For those that have been out of the loop, a certain Josh Rogers, certain Dane Warren, they've been amongst a handful of the Coanda drivers spotted in the qualifying series. And so we are expecting for when next January, February rolls around, the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup to have plenty more purple and orange. Michael Romanidis has done, I've got to say, a very fine job so far of blocking off Tamas Shimon. Maybe some moves a bit more aggressive than others, yes. Not quite sure if one would classify that as moving under braking. I would definitely classify as some of this as reactive moving, though, and pinching and squeezing. It's almost like there's an annoying zit on your face, but Tamas Shimon has got the move done. All as Jaden Munoz continues now to frustrate Michael Johnny, the American. Ooh, out wide. Still, a couple laps left to go for these drivers. Michael Romanidis at the back of the train now, still 7 seconds clear of Moreno Sorica. I'm not sure if this strategy call was necessarily worth it. Wonder if Jordan Caruso in his interview can tell us a little bit more. Anyway, back up front as they all try and use as much push to pass as possible. Not expecting many changes. Jaden Munoz again, just a couple of car lengths clear. It's not turn 4 where the move gets made, it's up at turn 5. He's trying to switch it back, goes Johnny once more. Thomas Shimon behind, just lurking. Already 3 seconds clear now for Costantini if he needed a sign for how much this battle is really hurting these drivers. Final corner is definitely not a passing opportunity. But Johnny tried it anyway, I tell you. So 2 to go for these drivers. All, as he flipped the page over to the second split, and Brandon Traino is getting ready to see the white flag. He's got a comfortable margin up front, does the Apex Racing team driver. And just one more lap between him and a potential berth in the top 33. Back over in the top split, Eduardo Leo has been let through by Gustavo Ariel. If you ever needed an indication for how well Team Redline is working together in the year 2024, take this as a sign. Gustavo Ariel last lap did a 108.2. On this lap, does a 108.5. Just gives up a whole second to let Eduardo Leo go through with a 107.5. But again, is it going to be enough? We'll get confirmation, hopefully, before we close this broadcast out. iRacing will do its math, and we'll see what happens. Right, it's time for some to celebrate. Second split in the books, and it's Brandon Traino, the king of the bricks, punching his way into the INDYCAR Buttkicker Pro Series ranks. He's won at Indy so many times before, and now has his chance to prove that he can do it turning right as well when the 10-round championship gets underway later on this fall. Meanwhile, over in the top split, here comes Jordan Caruso running to the line. Yet another different winner in top split. And he'll try and make it 2 different top-level championships here on the iRacing platform. Jose Soria, what a performance to grab second from him in the race. Will end up being in the top 3 in points as well. And then the Redline contingent, 3rd through 5th position, trying to help Eduardo Leo to the best of their abilities. Rest of the drivers scramble across the line. We'll get confirmation again of both sets of results. And we'll also, again, wait for word as to whether we have a final points calculation or not. I say final, but what I really mean is provisional, because who knows what will be sent the way of Nim Cross in race control. It turns out plenty was in the aftermath of our oval round at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Still waiting for the final drivers just to run their way back around to the line. While we do so, grab a look at the results from second split. Get ready to take a look at the results for split number 1. 4.3 seconds the margin between Brandon Traino and Javi Ross at the end on split strategies. We'll be curious to see what the rest of the drivers look like in terms of points, but Dan Amor should be holding confident enough in 4th, you'd think, for the Apex Racing Academy. For Rob Malechka in 9th, he'll feel pretty happy as well. It's Luis Nunez, it's Jeff Drake. They're definitely the ones that will be biting their fingernails right now. Alex Rassi, Alan Berteau, all in front of Brendan Lichtenberg. We'll find out if that's going to be something to worry about for the Hyperstar, if this result was a worry. And then scroll your way down through the rest of the field. Logan Spath, unfortunately, involved in an incident at the start alongside Ethan Morris, Charlie Sears, and Luciano Whitvet. That saw their season come to a close. Take a look at the top split results as well now that all drivers have crossed the line. Less than 2 seconds the margin between Jordan Caruso and Jose Soria, with Eduardo Leo, Gustavo Ariel, and Diogo Pinto then 3rd through 5th. Phil Kraus, Ricardo Rico, Peter Berryman, Elliot Veyron, and Luke McEwen then scored in the top 10. With Costantini, Munoz, Simon, Johnny, Romanidis, Sarika, Wierzbicki. He was here just for fun. I'm sure he had plenty alongside Pablo Espez, Bobby Zelensky, Manuel Torres. And then David Toth, Kevin Burrell, Brandon Roseborough, Nathan Moore, and wow, Cooper Webster. We'll have to find out if that crash right as he was exiting pit lane in front of a couple of Coanda machines has cost him a potential chance of making it into the championship series. Not sure if we're going to get a chance to chat to too many of the drivers, but we'll wait here and hold for just a couple of seconds to see if they'll come and have a chat with us. In the meantime, just a reminder of what a journey we have been on. Started on July the 18th. It's been a long road since then. Back-to-back weeks for these drivers, and only 21 days between them stopping and starting again. It's pretty frenetic when you think about it that way. And 10 back-to-back weeks in the championship as well. We'll see exactly how that all plays out. Trying to send some messages to some of the drivers. Also trying to see if we've got any updated points just yet. It doesn't seem as though, at least on my end, that we've got anything final. Waiting to see if one of the drivers is going to message me in a fit of desperation. Remember that we've still got the wait for race control to figure out if we are going to have any changes. Not sure exactly if we've got a final championship schedule either at this point. But that is definitely something just to keep an eye on. And we finally got a driver standing by. Let's see if we can check in with the King of the Bricks, Brandon Traino, who joins us now. Brandon, another victory in Split 2 for you. It's been a solid run of points and speed for you this summer. How are you feeling, given that you're probably locked into the top 33?
Yeah, first off, thanks for doing this for the community. We really appreciate it. Yeah, second split's been fun. Just kind of routed off some top 5s the whole season long, and I'm pretty sure it was already locked in before this, but topped this one off with a win. It's just a credit to the Apex guys. We've put in a ton of work for this, and we're still missing quite a bit in Q pace, but pretty confident we can figure it out and get Pete and Luke up there better in top split. But yeah, it would have been nice to have been in a top split either last week or this week to get some experience. But we'll get some experience here shortly.
And so tell me about, what you've learned over the 7 weeks as well. I'm sure plenty in terms of setup. What have you learned in terms of the competition? What are you going to be looking out for in 21 days when we get ready to go racing?
I've just learned that these guys are incredibly talented at what they do. I thought that my experience with this car over the past 7 years was going to be enough. But these guys are on a whole nother level, and it's made me want to work harder and close that gap. And I'm getting there. Not totally there yet, but getting there is a good I don't know, whatever.
No, I get what you're saying. Of course, I know you were a bit disappointed this summer to miss out on a chance to race for the iRacing Indy 500. Does this feel at least like a little bit of a consolation that you will hopefully get the chance to fight over 10 rounds to really prove yourself with these drivers that, like you say, have proved why they're so good in some of the other cars as well?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this series plays out with the 4 ovals. We'll have some good points to hopefully fall back on. If I can just get some top 5s there, it'll really carry me for you know, a mediocre, say, road course race. But yeah, if us Apex guys can figure out Q pace, I really think our long run pace everywhere we've gone has been really solid. It's just we cannot figure out how to get the car fired up in Q, and it just kind of sticks us in the midfield. More so Pete and Luke. I'm, you know, top 5 at second splits, so it's not that bad. But come a couple weeks here, it'll be pretty critical.
Well, great to chat with you, Brandon, and hoping in 21 days' time we get a chance to chat with you a little bit more. Let's go on over to Jose Soria, who finished the top split in 2nd position. Jose, it's been a great result for you over the course of the summer. I'm pretty sure you'll be top 3 in terms of the points itself as well. How are you feeling in what's been a pretty relentless 7 weeks for you?
Good night, Arjuna. Quite happy, to be honest. It's something that I didn't expect. I mean, to be honest, before I got the call from Drago and I saw that the Indy Championship was announced, I was basically planning on retiring from sim racing. So yeah, it's an amazing result for me and something that I'm quite happy about.
Tell me as well about Drago as a whole, right? Because I think we've seen you guys get more and more up to speed with this car. What have you been learning week to week? Ricardo Rico winning last week at Road America was a real statement.
Yeah, basically just proud of all the work that we have put into this, and it's actually fun because it came kind of full circle since we started the season with the INDYCAR, so to say, with the VTO Challenge. Pre-quali was here at Mid-Ohio, and we struggled a lot. At that point, it was only David and me. We had no idea on how to set up the car, and it took us a lot of time to even make it into the pre-quali. And after that, it was just teamwork, really. With Ricardo, David, Nico as well. Yeah, just a lot of work that went into the setup and trying to understand it.
Well, what are you looking forward to in terms of 3 weeks from today? Because I'm sure for you, slightly different time of night, right? So your sleep schedule for the next couple of months is going to be a little bit out there.
For sure, and actually it's quite a funny story because I had a trip booked to Singapore for the F1 race before the championship was announced. So actually I'm probably going to have to do the race from Singapore. So that will be quite fun. I mean, no practice, new rig to me. Yeah, that will be interesting for sure.
I tell you what, I can probably help you find a rig if you don't have one already. So send me a message, we'll figure it out. Jose Soria up there in the championship standings. Great result for him to close out the season. And let's jump on over to Jacob Oster, who should, with that result, 3rd and 2nd split, also feel pretty comfortable with his chances of being part of the Fast 33. Jacob, talk to us about that race and about the 7 rounds of the qualifying series.
I'm a little mad that all the higher iRating guys showed up because I could have won. I wanted to win one of these. But, I mean, car was good. I've learned a lot about this car over the last 10 weeks. I've learned to be a better road driver, but I still got I got a mountain to climb and I'm at the base, but I'm working on it.
You, of course, I think it was really interesting seeing how you came into the iRacing IndyCar community as that guy that tweaked the setup that was given out on the forums to make the iRacing Indy 500 to now be in this position. Jacob, I've got to ask, did you ever think you'd have come this far in your iRacing career?
No, and I remember doing all that and getting a lot of support back in that month of May in 2021, and it kind of changed the trajectory of how I view the sim, and I've been introduced to a lot of really good friends because of it. But it's kind of neat that I'm going to get this pro license probably on the anniversary, my 10-year anniversary of being on the sim. So that's pretty cool. I didn't ever expect to get to this point. I thought it'd be on an oval if it was, but not on a road course. Like, I don't run road courses. I didn't run road courses till 2021.
Hey, you do now, though, so I guess you've got that going for you.
I know, and I don't like running laps all the time, so I got to fix that.
And is it Mid-Ohio the best road course of them all?
Yes, it is, and that's why I was plus 15 seconds on everybody else who normally is in that split.
Oh, well, Jacob, I'm so happy for you. Looking forward to seeing how the championship goes for you when it starts in just 21 days' time.
Oh, God. I look forward to it. Yeah, that's closer than I think, but we're going to have a good time.
21 days away. It should be a lot of fun. Great to catch up with a couple of the drivers. Not sure we're going to get the chance to catch up with anyone else. And so, Just a reminder, live on the iRacing Esports Network, the iRacing INDYCAR Buttkicker Pro Series starts on September the 19th. Green flag drops around 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Can't wait to see everything that happens, and over the next week to figure out exactly who makes it into the Championship Series itself. Thanks for your company over the last 7 weeks here live on RaceSpotTV. It's been a blast. On behalf of those that have made it possible, Dustin Ollis and Josh Lee the last 2 weeks, helping out with production, my name's Arjuna Kankipati signing off, and looking forward again to 3 weeks from today when these Indy cars take center stage.